No one in Salem expected the truth to break open the way it did, because for days the entire town was convinced that Jeremy was responsible for the mysterious collapse of Stephanie and Alex. The poisoning had been the most terrifying event at that gathering. Two people suddenly losing consciousness, gasping for air, their bodies convulsing as paramedics rushed them away. The tension, suspicion, and fear spread through Salem like wildfire. Jeremy had the motive, the opportunity, and a reputation of always being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Everyone, including Stephanie's own terrified family, was ready to believe he was the culprit. But the real story lurking in the shadows was far more shocking and devastating. The truth begins to surface when Kayla, still shaken by her daughter's condition, presses for an independent toxicology review. She can't ignore a tiny detail: something in Stephanie's lab results doesn't match what she expected. While the police remain locked on Jeremy, Kayla keeps digging, turning over every stone, even questioning hospital staff without telling anyone. And in this relentless search for answers, one overlooked clue emerges. The poison used on Stephanie and Alex wasn't something Jeremy had access to. It was far more specialized, far more deliberate, and only someone with medical knowledge or close personal access could have administered it without being noticed. At the same time, Joy Wesley moves quietly through Salem, trying to keep her head down, offering sympathy to Kayla, and visiting Stephanie with carefully measured emotion. No one suspects her because Joy has always carried a reputation of being well-mannered, intelligent, and responsible. But beneath her calm exterior a storm is raging, one built from jealousy, insecurity, and a growing obsession that no one realized had reached its breaking point. Everything changes when Steve overhears a fragment of a conversation between Joy and a pharmacist from University Hospital. They mention a restricted toxin, something Joy should never have been able to get her hands on. Steve's instincts kick in instantly and he follows the thread. Soon he and Kayla discover the horrifying truth. Joy forged a medical authorization to obtain the compound used in the poisoning. Jeremy wasn't guilty at all. He was simply the perfect distraction. Loud, impulsive, and easy to accuse. As suspicion shifts, Joy's behavior becomes more fragile. She starts showing up at the hospital at strange hours, lingering outside Stephanie's room, whispering apologies to herself. She seems torn between guilt and a desperate need to justify her actions. Joy adored Alex for years, long before he ever saw Stephanie as more than a friend. When Alex chose Stephanie, Joy's envy grew into something darker and more unhinged. She convinced herself that Stephanie was destroying the people around her, that Alex was blind to her flaws, and that the only way to stop the inevitable heartbreak was to intervene aggressively. But the moment she saw Alex collapse beside Stephanie, Joy's fantasy shattered, and panic consumed her. The breakthrough moment arrives when Stephanie wakes up. Disoriented but alive, she remembers one final detail. Joy had handed her a drink earlier in the night. A harmless offer, a courteous gesture, something Stephanie didn't think twice about. But that memory clicks together perfectly with the toxin analysis, and Kayla's voice trembles as she realizes what it means. Stephanie identifies Joy as the last person to give her anything that evening. The entire puzzle locks into place. When confronted, Joy finally breaks. In a trembling confession she admits everything, explaining that she never meant for both of them to collapse. She wanted to weaken Stephanie to make Alex see she wasn't stable enough for him, but the dosage was miscalculated. She panicked, tried to cover her tracks, and let Jeremy take the fall because she knew no one would defend him. Her expression crumbles as she realizes how deep her actions cut and how many people she has hurt, including Kayla, who looks at Joy with a mixture of horror, heartbreak, and disbelief. In a dramatic emotional climax, Joy falls to her knees in tears, begging Kayla to understand that she never wanted to be a monster. But Salem isn't a town where secrets stay hidden, and the fallout is immediate. Alex confronts her with anger and disgust. Stephanie recoils from the betrayal, and Kayla must face the painful truth that someone she cared about nearly destroyed her daughter. The revelation sends shockwaves through every family connected to the poisoning. Jeremy is exonerated, though he carries the scars of being wrongly accused. Stephanie and Alex must rebuild their trust and their health. And Joy's life splinters into pieces as she faces both emotional collapse and legal consequences. In Salem, no twist is ever simple, but this one leaves the entire town stunned. The quiet girl no one suspected becomes the unlikely villain at the center of a crime that nearly claimed 2 lives, proving once again that in days of our lives, the most dangerous secrets often hide behind the most innocent faces.